What's up, y'all? Wow. A guitar. Okay. I'm not a steel string person myself. All that much. I mean, it happens when it does, but my name's Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Welcome to episode 92 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. This here episode is titled, and there's no commas because why not? Believe it or not, don't. That's the title. We'll get into it. First, I'll do the intro as I do, then we'll get into the discussion as we do it. Yeah. Nylon strings, by the way. I said I'm not a steel string guitarist. There's some context on what I am. Besides a son of my living God, Jesus the Christ. Our company is called In the Image Clothing Company because we're designed in the image of Jesus Christ. And here at In the Image Clothing Company podcast, we have discussions on the gospel, meaning good news of Jesus Christ. Really just meaning the truth of all things is actually what it literally is. Yeah. So that's what we have here is beautiful discussions. If I'm saying something, but I'm the one saying them up until today's. So, yeah. All right. Okay. The main side of In the Image Clothing Company is another third of us. There's 3/3 as a whole. On the main side, we address the human body's natural function. We come at it through the skeletal system. It's the thing that doesn't change. It has neutral positions within every joint, and it's always the same. Once we're full grown, the fat content changes, the muscle mass does as well, and those things really only, at least the musculature, the only reason for it is to move the skeletal system, and the fat content is kind of just something placed on top of our skeletal frame as well. So we address clothing because it's the only thing placed onto us physically, and it's always on us, give or take. And yeah, the body has a center line. There's a sternum. And let me give some context. I've talked about it, but I'll kind of maybe say it periodically, talk about it, because I have a lot of experience with, maybe you could word it as like quite big alterations to my body throughout my life. I've had 2 full open heart surgeries where they've cut my sternum entirely in half and opened my rib cage and operated on my heart. I've had 4 other, what you could say is more minor surgeries, quote unquote, if that's how you want to phrase it, on my heart. But yeah, so I've got titanium wires holding my sternum back together. Now the bones have grown and fused back over time, but at the beginning, they just put those bones back together and wire them up. So yeah, that needs to be in the center though. The spine directly behind it, the trachea, which is this tube in our throat, the nose, all these things are the center. The jaw stabilizes the entire body. And if it's not centered, then it's trying to stabilize the body in a position that's not actually in its only middle ground. And gravity on our earth just pulls us straight down. So clothing imbalances, oversized things, and all the things that could come with just not being the same left to right, weight-wise even, it alters the body. So we address just how to keep the body unaltered. Keyword, allowing the body to work. It'll only ever do what it does. But much more than just clothing gets discussed. Eating, sleeping, how to really stay hydrated, standing, walking, lots of things naturally as a human being. We have another third of us, which is In the Image Clothing Company music. And I like music a lot. So I address sizings, setups of guitars, how to allow the hands to work, because the hands are essentially the shoulders, and then the shoulders determine breathing patterns and just the entire body, really. The body only works as a whole, so we can't be altering it with guitars poorly set up, and it happens so often, and I feel for it. I've experienced it quite a many times. a lot of times, way too many times. Just start pouting about it, because I do, dude. It drives me nuts, but I love it. The guitar as an instrument. There's really only one way to set it up, though, to allow the human body to work. So I also just have music over there that I've made you can check out, and all the other things we get into with music. So I'll talk about, as I do within the intros, where clothing has to sit for everybody, because the skeletal system is just a mechanical machine with operations. And it doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're tall, if you're short, if you're skinny, if you're fat, if you're from any part of the globe or any time period ever. We talk about eternal truths here, things that will never change. I'm sinful by nature, as is him and her, just meaning all of the humans. But, the bulk of what we talk about here, there's no opinion to this stuff. So, pants need to be entirely above the hips, all the way off the hips, so there's no restriction to the functionality of the hips as a whole. The angle of our waistband has to be for everybody, and it's no opinion. The last episode of In the Image Clothing Company Podcast, 91, was titled No Opinion I Could Have. Because, like I was just saying, right? It's just the truth. But the ankle needs to be slightly higher in the front than the rear for the waistband of everybody's pants. I can tell you that. The core muscles in the front of our abdomen here only will ever work the way that all muscles in the body work, by shortening, contracting, and activating, all meaning the same thing. And that's the only angle that's going to be allowed to be the case in, okay? The tops of our shoulders, if we have seams up here on the tops that we're wearing, they need to be evenly behind the little bones on the peak of our shoulders. Our shoulders only will ever work behind our head, where these muscles called the upper trapezius connect to the very base of the rear of the skull, along the cervical spine, and to the top/rear of the shoulder. And for the edge seams of our shoulders, they need to be right at the very edges where the operation of the shoulder capsule is. Okay? Two things we talk about as being prerequisites under In the Image Clothing Company, because they're kind of conditional. There's not always lacing in shoes. There's not always tags in clothing. By the way, tags include shoes as well. I used to say that within every intro. When I talked about tags, I'd say that includes the shoes as well. But another one of those things I might just kind of mention periodically, so the intros aren't like longer than they need to be. It doesn't matter how long they are if they're as long as they need to be, but right. Certain things I don't always say, but then I'll say kind of every few videos or something. So weaving a rope across the top of the human foot is what we call a shoelace. There's only one way to do it that will cause that patterning to be shaped the way that the structure of the skeletal system inside the human foot is shaped. Yeah, there is only one way. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled that. And that's what we call In the Image Clothing Company's shoelacing technique. With that, we tie our shoes evenly over toward the inside, to the center line of the human being on both feet. That's how we have our natural foot motion, okay? Evenly on both sides, opposing the center. The only way the body will ever work. Secondly, we remove all tags. They're not always in clothing, but when they are, they're causing a physical gap, changing the skeletal system's only working position, and or not allowing the musculature against those tags to activate. Then the body's compensating in many ways, and the body can't work within compensation. It will only ever work as a whole. So when I talk about that part of it, as far as the musculature not being able to activate, that's really like shoe tags. Within shoes in this time period, they're heat shrunk on. So they're not actually in the way necessarily, but they're slippery, okay? So texture to the tag in the shoe if you just cut slits into it, or remove it fully. I've done both on different shoes that I've owned, so there we go, okay? Here we are. We're in it. We're in the episode. We're actually into the discussion. Sometimes the intros are long, and I am so intentional on making them be what, like I said, they need to be within each video, and sometimes it's different within each video. The information is the same, but I approach it slightly different, and the length is slightly different of the intros, because Because meaning the reason I am so intentional to have them be what they are, even if it seems quite lengthy, is because that's really what we are physically. That's how we allow the body to work, is by knowing how clothing needs to be placed onto our bodies. And so I mentioned that unless I forget, every single In the Image Clothing Company podcast intro and every video for the main side of In the Image Clothing Company as well, because I don't want there to be any question. And so I make it pretty darn clear. But here's the thing, this title of this episode, believe it or not, don't, and yeah, there could be a comma, but simplicity, you know. I'm super simple. And think about it like this, you know, because we talk about the gospel of Jesus Christ and everything that we do, and it's the truth of all things. And when I say that type of things, some people might be like, well, I don't really have any beliefs of my own. Well, that's fine. I don't either. Evan Strong, me speaking authentically, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, I don't. Because if you think about it, the way that this title is phrased, believe it or not, don't. Well, you have this choice to believe something or to not believe something, but that's why I use the phrase vestibule and space in between. Because in between all the beliefs of anything that anybody could have, there's just things as they are. And that's what we call truth, the thing that doesn't change. And really, it's Jesus Christ. He's the way, the truth, and the life. Literal, really, actually. I've been saying that so often in some of these recent episodes that the gospel is literal. The parables, the phrasings, the metaphors, you just might not see it if you don't see it. Yet. There's always that yet. But here's the thing. If we don't believe anything, then what remains? Because there's got to be something there. You know? This person believes that this sports team is the best, and this person believes that this sports team is the best, but if we can look at it as it is, well, are we actually looking at who's the best? And then how do we categorize that? Are they the best if they've won this competition and that year and against this team and they're in this bracket of something? Or is it an opinion because you just think you love the players that are currently on the team, which will eventually rotate out, right? So where's the truth? What's really the truth if all the opinions are aside and all the beliefs are gone? Well, it's always there. The truth is underlying all things. It never leaves. And think about this, right? If somebody tells you they love you, well, who's to say? Well, they said it, but who's to say if they really do or not? How do you know that somebody loves you? Because if you believe they love you, but they're just like kind of playing you a little bit, and I've had that happen, that's not a good experience, if I were to be sane. But everything is used for the good of those that serve God. And it has been, and I have seen the ways that it has been used for good in my life. But see that? Anyone can tell you they love you, but do you believe them? Because if they don't actually love you, and they're just saying they do, and you believe it, well, the truth is they don't. Maybe they're saying it to try to get something from you, or they feel for you in some kind of way, and so they'll say these words to try to make you feel better, which is actually a manipulation. Or, if somebody loves you, and they actually do, and they tell you how much they love you, but you feel like you don't deserve to be loved, so you don't believe it. But they actually love you. You see what I mean? Believe it or not, well, just don't. With everything, and we'll get into whatever we discuss, but that's what the title means in the way that I'm phrasing it, because I'm the one who titled it. Because either way, if they don't actually love you, but you believe they do, well, your beliefs aren't actually valid. Because the truth in that case is that they don't love you, but they're just saying it for maybe some reasons to get whatever, and a third. But then if they really love you, and you're somebody who just has like this view on themselves at that current moment that nobody could love you or you don't deserve to be loved, and you just don't believe it, Well, it doesn't matter what you believe. The truth is they actually love you. In their heart, in their soul, they have a connection with you. They care about you. They love you. Even if you don't believe it. So believe it or not, don't. What's the truth? Well, here's the thing. How do you go outside and have the sun be shining on you and know that it's on your skin? Do you have to believe that there's a sun up there? And if you do or don't, does it change that the sun is shining down on you? No. No. Well, don't believe me. All right. I say it so often. I do. If you've heard past episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, you've very highly potentially heard Evan Strong say, don't believe me. As like a genuine asking you not to. Please don't. For these reasons, right? But if the sun's shining on you and you're blind, so you can't look up there and see it, well, is it still happening? What if you don't believe it because you say, well, I can't see it, and if I could see it, I could believe it. You're saying because you're blind, but the sun's shining on you and you feel the warmth on your skin the second you step out of the shade or step out of the building you were in. It doesn't change anything. Believe it or not, well, don't. Just what's the truth? There's the sun up there. Because even if you can see, and you're looking up there at the sun, you can have all the beliefs of what you think that it is and how you think that it works and whatever. But no matter what you do or don't believe about it, it's still whatever it is. So you don't have to believe it, but it's the truth. And whatever that means. Because truth is truth. Episode 2 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Believe it or not, don't. People got a lot of elaborate stories sometimes. Evan Strong's got a lot of articulation sometimes. Because I addressed it, I couldn't articulate it as I was saying it. That's funny. I'm very articulate, man. Yeah. I like music. But people have some elaborate stories sometimes, and do you believe it or do you not? And is their life just so adventurous that you don't think that somebody could actually have that, like, out there of a life? And so you're not going to believe it? But they're telling you a story that actually happened to them last year. It was summertime and something crazy went on and they're just telling you about it. But you don't believe it. Well, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Believe it or not, well, don't. Is it true? In this hypothetical, yeah. They just have a life that's crazier than you thought it could actually be. But then somebody else maybe just making some story up to try to sound cool. Do I believe this or no, Well, whether you believe it or not, if they're just making it up, they're just making it up. So just don't believe it. What's the truth? I think people don't quite understand what the word truth means. I know growing up, I heard that phrase, you couldn't handle the truth. And I was like, the truth of what? Can you be kind of specific a little bit so I know what you're talking about? Because I don't know what you're saying. Well, you're right. Past me. I didn't know what they were saying. But now I know. Jesus Christ. There's only one truth. A lot of people can't handle it. The wicked take the truth to be harsh. We talk about telling each other the hard truth, the harsh truth. Those words are kind of interchangeable there. Those H words. Not hell. That's a place, though, right? Where we don't want to be. But we're living in if we don't believe what truth is. Except, wait, believe it or not, don't. Truth is truth. Yikes. And that's why it's hard for people, because you got to kind of understand a little bit of who our God is. And then you can just see what truth is. That's nuts, dude. I mean, truth is truth. It's not like truth of a certain thing, and somebody can have truth on this and truth on that and truth on something else that maybe they made up. Oh, what? There's just truth. That's why, I label it as it is, meaning as it's worded in Scripture, in the Book of Mormon, the Holy Bible. It's the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the good news of the man who is God. In a fallen world where we all want to know what's actually happening, we can. I laughed. For those of you in audio only, I was just like doing some hand gestures, like it's kind of silly. Yeah, In the Image Clothing Company podcast is available in video plus audio as well as just audio. But yeah, you don't have to believe anything. Believe it or not, well, take yourself out of it and just don't. And that's the thing, and I think those are some of the biggest moments when we can see it. It's stuff that's big like that, like love or like a big accident. You get in a big car accident and like you're sitting there on the curb, and the people are taking care of all the debris and everyone's doing whatever they're doing to like clean up the road, and you're just sitting there like, man, kind of how I am now, just because I'm on the ground. You're just looking down like, I can't believe that happened. And your buddy who showed up after the accident to kind of help you out, comfort you, and give you a ride home because now your car's on a tow truck. He's like, well, believe it or not, don't. Your car's over there on a wrecker. It's like, all right, cool, I get it. It's like, that's the thing about the truth. It's just what it is. I mean, people sometimes they don't want to believe that they just got in a car wreck, but well, you don't have to. Don't believe it, but it happened. I mean, believe it or not, don't. Well, because it's those big things like that, man. Like I've been saying, we'll probably do a podcast episode in the Image Clothing Company podcast titled "Condemn Me for What I Have Said." Because when I say that, which is pretty often lately, in past episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, what I mean is, if I've said something and you got a problem with it and you're going to come address me about it, and I can't believe you said this, well, exactly right. Believe it or not, don't. I said it. So if you're going to condemn me for it, meaning if you're going to get after me for it and tell me how wrong I was about it, you're the only one that's in the wrong because you're judging me. I've already done it. I can't change it. Whether you believe it or not, or whether I believe it or not, we don't have to. It happened. See what I mean? Truth is truth. You don't have to believe it. Don't believe anything. And I understand within Scripture it's phrased to believe in Jesus Christ. But if you believe it or not, he still is who he says he is. Right? Believe it or not, you don't have to. It's the truth. And the truth sets you free, right? As it says in Scripture. I think it's John. I read it actually. One of these past episodes, one of these recent ones of In the Image Clothing Company podcast is titled One God. And I read that specific scripture. I think it is in John in the New Testament of the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. I said it so quick. All of a sudden I'm like from the South. Had a little bit of an accent as well. Oh, that's great. Anyway, I don't have to believe in anything for there to be truth, and I can believe in everything and it can all be wrong. That's why I say stuff, I mean, like, I don't care to be right, but what's the truth? Because the truth sets you free. We live in a world of beliefs. A lot of people want to believe what they can be, and a lot of people believe that they can't be anything. Well, believe it or not, what are you really, right? Because you can believe you're a part of something, or you can believe you're worth more because you're a part of something. Or you can not believe that anything will ever help you, but no matter what end of all those things, just don't believe any of that. And what's going on? Look at the truth. That's such a funny question too. Because that's like when you meet somebody, I don't like the question, how are you? Because now it puts like an obligation on you. And you almost feel wrong if you don't say, good, with a fake smile on your face, right? And a chipper attitude that's not real. Yikes. But I like the question, what's going on? I don't normally even ask people that many things ever. I don't know. Sometimes though, I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? But it's kind of like this open-ended, like, it doesn't have to be an answer that anybody's expecting. Because you walk into some place and things are going crazy, haywire, and you're like, what is going on? Right? And the answer is just the truth. They're like, well, this is happening and it's crazy. Or you go meet somebody and, you ask them, hey, what's going on? And they tell you just what's up with their life, the truth of what's been happening, right? I think that's the cool thing about phrasing. It's like I've been saying, and I mentioned it in here. I mean, it's literal. These phrases we use and parables in Scripture, They're actually as they are. But sometimes we just don't realize what we're saying because we say things so often. When we ask that question, that's funny. I'm going to just talk about that right now. When we ask the question, how are you? Or how are you doing? It's become something in modern day where people use it as a greeting. But what's it literally meaning? How are you? You know, because some people look at you like that. They look at you in the eyes like, how are you doing? It's like, oh my gosh, you're creepy. Leave. Seriously, please stop it. That's why I don't like that question, because it's like, well, no matter how I'm doing, well, that's exactly. You can believe it or not. If I'm not doing good and I say I am, believe it or not, don't. The truth is, in that case, if I were to be lying and just say, oh, good, with like this smile that hurts because it's so fake, then it doesn't matter if you believe what I said or not. The truth is, in that moment, that person wasn't doing good. If it was me, right? I'm not trying to take myself out of the hypothetical, because at the same time, we're not always supposed to be doing good. We're not always supposed to be happy. And we talk about this often, but seeking happiness, right? It's a fleeting emotion. But joy is eternal, and we can have joy within all things that we do, because the truth of all things doesn't leave, and happiness does. When your cat dies and now you're crying on the floor. But you can be joyful to remember the times you had with the cat, right? It's just as true as it is. As real as it is, as real as it gets, as obvious as it is. Once you see it, all the phrases that I've said many times, those are a lot of them that I do say often under In the Image Clothing Company podcast. And this is episode 92, titled, Believe It or Not, Don't. Because, yeah, the other thing is, somebody asks you how you're doing, and it doesn't matter what you say. I mean, if you say not good, well, why are you saying that? Maybe you're having a good day because you've had so much attention, and if you tell them you're not doing good, you'll get more attention, right? What's the actual truth? Well, it's outside of all the beliefs, so don't. You don't have to believe in anything. Is that liberating? In a world of people's 6-week programs that don't work? I love that idea. I think that's something I'll probably say if I ever do again. And that's the case. But here's what I mean is, it's so funny to me. It's like, try our 6-week program, our 9-week diet, our, I don't know. I feel like okay, the number 6 is the 6th day. It's when human beings were created, right? And then God rested on the 7th. He created everything. And on the last day, he's like, we'll throw some human beings down here. That's how I see that, dude. Well, that's how it is. But I mean it like, it's kind of like the last thing you thought to do. Yeah, we'll put Adam and Eve over here, and then take a break. That's so funny. The reason I say it like that is because we gotta realize our place, and we're in last, right? Before he sat down to, I don't know if he took it like an actual seat, but right. I mean, before he took a rest, the Sabbath day, the 7th day, talk about literal, right? All these phrases and wordings. It's the day of rest. So I think that's why they use the word 6 in 6 weeks, right? The 6-week program. Well, I think that's why the number 666. I mean, it's sixes, right? It's a number of people associated with the devil, but really, in a lot of ways, it's like a warning. It's when you see it, it can be associated with something like that, like look out for something, but also it's a fleshly thing. We're human beings. We're the ones who are sinful. And we were created on the 6th day. People got these 6-week programs, and yeah, numbers themselves. There's so many meanings to them, a lot more than I know currently. And in Judaism and Old Testament type stuff, and yeah, people today as well. But back when, yeah, numbers are so metaphoric, but then literal at the same time. It's right. Yeah. That's cool. But yeah, 6-week programs, right? We're human beings, and people think they have an opinion on what'll be right. And so 6, that's what I was saying about it being like a warning, the number 666. People get scared about saying stuff like that, You gotta see it as it is, right? That's why. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, dude, the world's nuts, man, because Well, that's the thing, you can believe that's the title of this, I mean, believe it or not, well, don't. What is it really, I mean, but you can believe all this and all that and all whatever, and you can get paranoid quick if you don't see things as they are, because you can believe anything, and all of a sudden somebody's telling you to try their 6-week program, and all of a sudden, you're thinking, all right, cool, this guy says my hair will turn green as long as I follow it step by step. So you believe the program. But then by the end of it, you could have just seen it as it was in the beginning and just chosen the don't rather than believing it or not. Right. And there you go, right? So believe it or not, just please don't. Don't. Warnings, though. I think warnings are huge because that's the thing, a lot of people are very superstitious. Okay. You can be. You can believe it. But then there's other people who aren't. I mean, I used to just walk under ladders intentionally when people were around who I don't want to make it sound like I was trying to be mean, like in their face, like make them scared or whatever, but like just to kind of show it like, Jesus Christ is the truth. He's the one that gets to tell us what things are going to have what reactions and how things are going to work and whatever. And so, just some people think if you walk under a ladder, you'll have bad luck. And so I used to do it intentionally just to kind of like make a joke out of it because it's only a belief you can choose to have. And you can believe yourself down the rabbit hole. Or not. But either way, you just don't. And it's a piece of wood or metal or something that allows you to get onto a higher elevation on the earth than you were before once you've stepped up a few rungs of the ladder, right? It's just a ladder. Like, see what I mean? You can believe whatever you want, or you just don't instead. Because that's the thing, people with superstitions and stuff, dude, they normally have a pretty crazy, like, scary life, right? I mean, their lives look scary. To them, they're always in fear. And to other people, it's like, oh my goodness, what are you? It's like you can't even do anything because you're limiting yourself because you're in, well, what we phrase as limiting beliefs. If you don't believe anything, then everything's still there. And the only things that are left is just truth, meaning everything, because the gospel of Jesus Christ is the truth of all things. Do you see what I mean? It's literal, actually. That's why you don't have to believe it. You don't have to, dude. You don't got to believe nothing. You don't got to believe me. Believe it or not, though, just don't, right? Like, that's so funny. People just tell you stories like that, like, believe it or not, dude, the other week, I was like, okay, wait, hold on, right? Why'd you preface it with believe it or not? You're either saying truth or you're trying to get someone to believe something. So just talk or don't. And I love that word, don't, It's like, I used to say pause off when I was a little kid in elementary school. I think I probably got it from like a TV show or a movie or something, but people would be touching me and golly, did I get a little bit manhandled in all sorts of ways. And if I'm being as blunt as I am, because I am, by my earthly father, my dad, dude, yeah. I didn't like to be touched for many reasons that I was touched as in the ways that, okay, right? And as clear as I can be while being quite vague. Yeah, I mean, just, right? So people would, like, try to touch me or, tickle me or anything in life. I'd be at, like, elementary school, and I'd be like, hey, pause off, dude, Like animals have paws because I looked at people like that like animals because my situation growing up, dude. I mean, you just call it as it is. I'm not trying to, say any more than what it was. Because I could try to make you believe anything about my childhood and how terrible it was or wasn't, but don't. But if I'm just talking about it as it is, there you go, right? It's the truth. It was rough, dude. A lot of people's are. A lot of people's whole lives are rough. My life's still rough, dude. Because I'm not out there grinding all the time, People just trying to get so smooth, but really they're just like being worn down. I talked about that in one of these past episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Rather Than Living to Work. The grind. But yeah, there's so many things you could choose to believe. But if you don't believe it, then well, what? Now are you missing out on... Like, where can you go with that? If you don't believe something, then what happens to it? Right? Believe it or not, okay, so now I got to choose. So careful, because if I don't choose the right one, well, then what? Does it disappear? Because if it disappears, it's not even true. Truth doesn't change. Do you see how real this is? When you put it all away. Leave it all outside. Take off your sandals at the door and go in to the temple, right? I mean, worded stuff like that. You see what I mean? It's worded literally, dude. You just got to see it as it is. Oh, man. It's real, dude. I mean, it's the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the truth of all things. It's not a belief. You don't have to. I don't believe it. I do not believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. I know it as it is. Because it's the truth, whether I wanted to believe it or not. I don't get to decide. It's not up to me. Dude, I'm one kid out of a lot, right? Who am I to choose what's true? I am not anybody who could, or ever could, or ever can, or know. Because if I did or didn't, or whatever, don't. And I just, believe it or not, I don't get to decide what's true. And neither do you, neither does she, and neither does he. Right? Get a little bit like kind of mocky. I mock people like straight up often on In the Image Clothing Company podcast. But you believed that good Christians didn't mock things and people? Well, if you believe it or not, don't. It's not the truth. I mean, Jesus Christ himself, the perfect one, got after people, kind of mocked people. Yeah, you know, turn your back on the world. Like, yeah, dude, you came to overcome the world, not to like cater to it and believe something or something else, or maybe, you know. That's the thing, you got to be okay with offending people, you know. I mean, because if you believe that you should just cater to everybody, then there's nothing. Then there's nothing. I mean, that's as real as it is. There's nothing if there's not truth. Because if you're catering to somebody, that's a belief. Because you only do it in certain situations. You don't cater to the other human being by doing the same things. And so the truth is that that's a very specific occasion where somebody has beliefs of how they want you to act, right? So don't believe it. Don't believe anything. Believe it or not, don't. Just don't believe it, dude. There's so much out there, dude. There's so much. People will be creating products, you know, and telling them, similar to the 6-week program type stuff. And if you don't know what I mean by 6-week program, like a workout routine or a diet, those kind of things. And people will say, follow this to a T, just meaning like exactly, right? I don't know really where that comes from, to a T, but right. Follow this exactly as I'm saying for 6 weeks and your life will look like blank. But then as we said earlier, like you actually do it and it doesn't happen. So whether you believe it or not, don't, because it's not true. Okay? That's truth, is those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was my jaw. That was good that it happened. It's happened quite a few times on the podcast, which is good because, as I've said, right, I mean, I speak things as they are, and what we talk about under In the Image Clothing Company is just getting out of these chronic patternings, allowing the body to work, and you're able to see visually my physical body change from where it was to where it currently is, whenever it currently is. That's awesome. Literal, right? All these things, dude. It's word for word. Yep, it is. Line upon line, precept upon precept. But yeah, I mean, you know, similar to those 6-week programs, I mean, any product anybody's making, they can tell you what it's going to do for you, or how great it is, or how it's better than the other product because they believe it is, or something, and don't believe it. Don't, right? The third option, believe it or not. Is there a third option? There is, yeah, just don't. And there's the truth, where it always resides, outside of all the beliefs. because our God is outside of space and time. He created the earth, and we're on the earth where the beliefs are allowed to be taking place if we'd like to, but don't, right? So he is the truth, as we've said. Yeah, right? Literal. I mean, it's just as it is, dude. It's the gospel. It's the good news and all these lies you hear about, the claims that they want you to believe, right? You buy this product and your hair will grow back. But, it's for a Sphinx cat and it was born hairless, right? It's like, what are you doing, dude? You're trying to make something that well, it's not that, like, that's seriously, that's so cool. That's so hilarious because that's how absurd it actually is. And a lot of times we're not looking at it as it is. I mean, things are only what they are. There's only one truth. I did not decide it. We didn't decide it. We can't design it. Okay, let's flip it around a couple times, bro. But then one more, because otherwise we'd be in the same location. We didn't design it. We can't decide it. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled that. That's what I mean. Just don't believe anything. Look at it as it is. Oh, shoot. We're wrapping it up. I'm going to stop it right there. I don't even care how long this is. I just feel so content with how this is. So, thank you. It's the 2nd of April, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Check out the other two sides of the company if you'd like. We will have clothing available when we do, whenever that comes. Believe me or not, don't. It'll come, I think. It'll come. But made out of 100% natural materials, staying centered, fitting correct, and that's how we allow the body to work. I love how I talk about it like that. Like, when it's available, golly. Your grandkids, like, finally have the opportunity to purchase something called In the Image Clothing Company clothing. Who knows? I don't know as of right now. But it'll come. It's so crazy to say because I just know it will. But it's not my plan, right? So that's crazy. Anyway, thank you. Just don't believe in anything. I mean, I think the big thing is the joy that's coming through me because of this episode and how you don't gotta believe nothing. Just like I say, like, we'll have clothing available. Well, what if we don't? Like, don't believe it. Yikes! I'm not even trying to talk about it. This is all happening though. Like, I'm talking about it so much because of how unaware currently I am of how it's even going to come about. But we will have clothing available. don't. I mean, we just will. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know I was gonna have a podcast, and now we're on 92 episodes. Like, stuff will happen. I'm not saying it because I want to sell clothing. I'm saying it because I'm supposed to, and because of what it's really going to do, and because of what I was saying earlier when my jaw popped, and what I show, and how my body has been transformed. It has been through and because of clothing. Truly. So we'll have it available. Hang out, stick around, or stop in, sometime. I really can't tell you exactly when, but I'm excited for it. So excited for it. And actually, it's been kind of convicting me even more the past few days. Like, yeah, we're going to have clothing available. Because I was thinking about, there's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled, I Have a Clothing Company. And it's similar to what I'm saying right now. It kind of hit me. I was like, shoot, yeah, I actually have a clothing company. Like, we were, many episodes into the podcast, and we've got all the, we're like into it at that point. But no clothing yet. Still even, but sometimes it hits me like, oh yeah, I mean, that's actually gonna happen as well. Is we'll have some really nice clothing to wear. We, like myself included, and so. Anyway, I said I was gonna cut it, man, but sometimes, bro, sometimes you go to cut, but then you get your ankles broken. Ankles. Oh my gosh. You go to cut your disc on your DJ equipment, dude, and you get your scratch and a break. All right, give me a break. I don't know when clothing will be available, but it will. So follow my 6-week program because I'm a human being. I don't know what's going on, but don't believe me. Just hang out, I mean. That's so cool. So, anyway, Good old jaw, dude. I'm gonna play something on the guitar. I don't know. I'm an amazing guitarist. Believe it or not, don't. What's the truth? Who knows, right? We don't get to decide, so. Yeah, I'm an amazing guitarist, and then I don't know what to play. It's so funny. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Okay, goodbye.